Hi, 국사일세 지각가님です. In the previous video, I was discussing Chinese perspectives toward Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the prospects of Sino-Russian relationship. In the last couple of days, I have received some questions from my students and viewers, and I'd like to continue this conversation by addressing some of the questions. Okay, the first question is about Chinese position on the invasion. The question is, has China really not supported Russia's invasion? If that is true, the question continues, how can you explain the fact that Xi met with Putin on February 4th on the eve of the invasion and declared there are no limits to Sino-Russian friendship? Although there is still considerable debate over to what extent President Xi knew in advance about Putin's war plan, but no evidence thus far has suggested that he supported the war plan prior to the execution. And of course, Russia doesn't need to ask for China's permissions. What is more important is that there has been no official statement supporting Russia's aggressions since the war started. So the answer is no. Officially, China has not supported the war after it was initiated. Having said that, though, as I mentioned in the last talk, China's official position might not be as important as the underlying sympathy and understanding shared and expressed by some quarters of the Chinese government and the Chinese public. Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is what is the difference between strategic alignment and alliance? I mentioned in the previous talk, China will likely stay aligned with Russia, but its ties with Russia will not develop into an alliance. Then what is the difference between alignment and alliance? A major difference is whether there is a formal agreement obligating the parties to provide security assistance to each other. Instead, the strategic partnership framework currently defining Sino-Russian security ties is not the equivalent of an alliance treaty, like something existing between the United States and Japan. You can refer to Professor Sakwa's video on this point. Final question is, why will Sino-Russian ties not become a new bloc in the context of a rising new Cold War? First of all, there's no ideological common ground that can elevate this relationship to something akin to what actually existed during the Cold War. Even though China and Russia tend to be lumped together and subsumed under the same category of authoritarian regimes, not all dictatorships are the same. And in terms of political system, each of their governments is operating on a very different sets of norms and institutions. Yeah, I'm not delving into this point now, so if you happen to be interested, I recommend you take my Chinese politics class. Second, despite all the years of cooperation, the two countries still have considerable distrust toward each other. Sources of distrust are legion, ever-widening power gap in favor of China, conflicts of interest in Central Asia as well as the Far East, and the long-standing historical animosity. Of course, as people say, a marriage can continue without love if the couple have common interest. And I think there's still a lot of truth to the erstwhile description of the bilateral relationship as a marriage of convenience. In any event, there is no doubt the breakout Ukrainian war will prompt China to reconsider the cost and benefits of maintaining and deepening the level of cooperation with Russia. So let me end by summarizing. No official support for Russian invasion of Ukraine. So that is first thing. Alignment is not alliance, and the biggest difference is the absence of a formal agreement for mutual security guarantee. Finally, Sino-Russian ties are not likely to develop into a bloc due to the lack of common ideological ground as well as incentives, especially for China. Okay, this is just about it. I hope this will help you understand the situation better. Comments and questions are always welcome. Thank you very much.